talking yesterday about carrying around, lugging those textbooks around as whippersnappers, and you would think that generally speaking, we all in different states learn the important stuff. Like it's all pretty much done the same way. Texas does things very differently. I know it's shocking, but apparently the way that Texas works is that they have a board of people that do a textbook review every year. There's a panel of 15 people, and they are not teachers or professors. I think they're just like random religious and people that love creationism, just that they take off the street, but they have the last say in how all of this stuff works. And finally, they're like, you know what? I think that perhaps this is not a good system.
Yeah, probably having just random people who just, apparently these may be people that just really care.
Yep. I'm sure they're people that really care.
They really care about Jesus.
Yeah.
Just really care. And they want our kids to learn stuff that may not all be true and may not be based on facts. But they were on the board, and we've talked about a number of times on this show and on TWiB Radio about the things they were insisting would be included in textbooks.
Like creationism and not believing in climate change. And when they make these changes, then the textbook people have to go and make the changes, and that's a very expensive endeavor as well. So you would think that at some point someone was like, I don't have that kind of money to make all these changes.
Well, also, aren't they, there was, I recall a story last year where they were removing Latino studies from the schools. They were just like,
I think that might have been Texas too.
Yeah, I think that was Texas. Like, sorry, we understand that a lot of the population is Spanish speakers, but Arizona?
Yeah. It's Elon, the default. It's
Arizona, Texas. But, regardless of the fact that there are a lot of Spanish speakers, regardless of the fact that, this is America, and I know they talked, Elon and Monica talked about this yesterday with respect to the Coke commercial with people screaming about how dare you do a Coke commercial in multiple languages. People speak different languages in this country. And people are from different places. We are a melting pot. That was sort
ridiculous.
of that was the basis of this country. So this notion that we're now going to ignore Latino Hispanic studies because we're white and we're Americans. No.
And the craziest thing about this whole panel is that they had a more ambitious plan that failed that would have allowed the education board to remove panelists for inappropriate behavior, which failed Wednesday on a 9-6 vote.
Oh. Wait, so they're not going to be able to remove people for inappropriate behavior?
Apparently not, but I think they are going to have a different system as to how they get the people on the panel in the first place. So maybe you pull back on the crazy initially, so then you don't have to deal with the crazy
that
after.
People actually be educators.
Yeah, you would think that would just be what the panel would be.
Yeah.
And like one parent.
Experienced in their craft. Who know, and as someone who believes in I believe in a mix of creationism and evolution. Like to me, it doesn't make any sense as to why creationism and evolution doesn't exist like at the same time. Like why God, if you believe that God created the world, why couldn't He just have spoken it into existence and it evolved?
True.
Because what the creationists believe is they believe the world was formed like 6,000 years ago. And so, I mean, I that's actually an interesting point. I mean, there's no reason why creationists can't believe that God created Darwin or God created, the fish that moved to land and the monkeys and the whatever, but that's not what they believe. So it's fundamentally impossible to square those two points of view.
Yeah, and if you're in a public school, but hold on, if you're in a public school and you have a church and state separation, you got to be careful about what you're teaching and that you're not offending or stepping on other people's beliefs.
Yeah, and also there's just science. There's science and there's
science.
Well, school,
you're crazy.
For me, school is responsible for teaching my child facts.
Yeah.
Right.
That is backed up by science and researchers.
Huge fan of facts.
I am responsible for teaching him or her our religious beliefs.
Absolutely.
Separation.
Yep.
I am responsible for that. Now, if I want them to learn both or just religious things, then I will put them in a religious school. I'll give you an example of how my uncle, who's our pastor, says, who also believes in the same thing. Right? He says, if for thousands and millions of years, human beings have been birthing babies and it's taken 9 months and we have not there's no immediate we don't have immediate children. Like, there's a process. So why would there not be a process, i.e. evolution, for God creating the world? That's how my pastor says it.
I'm holding out for the immediate baby situation.
Maybe we'll evolve into that.
Boop! Oh my God.
Look what